Disney is without a doubt a factory of fantasy, magic, and adventures that captivate fans all over the world.
Sharkhead.
An enchanting universe we'd all love to experience. But have you noticed that not every film from this studio becomes a hit? Some simply fade into the background, sinking as massive flops. Just recently, in 2023, we had an example that unfortunately didn't capture most fans' hearts. Wish, the animated film chosen to celebrate Disney's 100th anniversary. When the creators brainstormed about what this major film should be, they asked, what exactly is Disney? And landed on the word wish. And they were right, as this word directly ties to the iconic theme song in the opening of all Disney animations, When You Wish Upon a Star. The film follows the protagonist Asha, who lives in the Kingdom of Roses, ruled by a king named Magnifico. He has the power to take people's deepest dreams and make them come true, but to maintain control, this villain makes people forget their dreams, leaving them with a hollow feeling inside. Upon discovering King Magnifico's evil plan, Asha makes a wish on a star that falls from the sky to help her. The storyline is intriguing and truly fits Disney's essence. Even the references within the movie are well placed, like Asha's grandfather, symbolizing Disney's 100 years. Yet, unfortunately, Wish was a big flop and quickly forgettable. One example is the soundtrack. We all know how Disney princess songs are magical and get stuck in our heads forever, but in Wish, practically none of them struck a chord with our hearts. Additionally, some fans felt that as a centennial celebration, Disney should have put much more into the story. It should have been more emotional. Because of this, Wish didn't achieve big box office numbers and almost didn't recoup its $175 million production cost. Disney's plan was for Asha to become the 13th Disney princess, but the film was such a disappointment that this idea was shelved. Some argue it's because the film is new, just over a year old, but technically, Elsa and Anna are also recent princesses who won over audiences instantly. Good or bad, we want you to know that today we'll be revealing the 12 biggest Disney flops at the box office, so grab your popcorn and make your wish, because here comes another Cinewave. Would you join an adventure into a strange world? This movie, released in 2022, aimed to take fans on a journey through an unexplored land, but according to most viewers, it lacks heart and the characters don't feel genuine. Almost no one enjoyed the movie, but there is another film with a similar theme that might have just been made at the wrong time. I'm talking about Atlantis. Not every Disney flop is a bad film, you know? Sometimes the story was simply told at the wrong time, and a great example of this is the classic Atlantis: The Lost Empire, released in 2001. This movie came out during a period at Disney known as the experimental era, when the studio wanted to explore stories outside their commercial norm of magical princesses and kid-focused tales. It's almost surprising to watch Atlantis and remember it's a Disney film at all. In this adventure, we follow the hero Milo, a cartographer dreaming of discovering the lost kingdom of Atlantis. This premise alone makes the film intriguing and full of adventure, and believe me, it delivers. Yet, it still wasn't a hit. With a budget of nearly $100 million, Atlantis made just $186 million worldwide, which was concerning for the time. Compared to more beloved Disney movies today, Atlantis is seen as a box office flop. Plus, 2D animation was being phased out then, and movies like Shrek were dominating theaters. In the end, Atlantis struggled to connect, partly because it didn't quite feel like a Disney film, and also due to its more mature themes, like firearm use, which were unexpected for a children's movie. Another film that faded into the background is Meet the Robinsons, telling the story of an orphan named Louis and his inventions. The movie follows a young genius who ends up in the future due to one of his inventions, the memory scanner, which has the potential to cause a major problem. When it was released in 2007, reactions were mixed and fans were divided. Looking back, it's fair to say the film has aged well, but it remains one of the lesser-known Disney movies that fans of the House of Mickey don't often revisit. And would you travel to the future for an adventure? If so, comment with #time so we can get to know ya. Could a movie about an adorable kitten possibly be a flop? That's what happened with Oliver and Company, released in 1988. In the story, a stray kitten is adopted by a wealthy girl, but his street friends try to bring him back to the streets where he belongs. Unfortunately, the film didn't go over well. The audience expected a true evolution or creative reimagining of the book, as the movie is based on Oliver Twist, a classic of English literature. Instead, they felt they got an underwhelming version. Just to clarify, that's what the critics said at the time, not me, okay? I love kittens. If you're a fan of giant reptiles, you might enjoy the 2000 film Dinosaur, which follows a family of lemurs who adopt a dinosaur in prehistoric times. Unlike other entries on this list, Dinosaur was a box office hit, earning around $349.8 million. So why is it here? Simple. It was Disney's first fully CGI movie, meaning the production had an unusual look, combining computer-animated characters with real-life backgrounds. Today, this blend is done well, but at the time, it came off as very strange. In 2005, Disney released Chicken Little, which also makes it onto our list because it's an adaptation of a classic Disney animation of the same name. The movie tries to reinvent itself but doesn't quite succeed, so much so that it's not remembered despite being a reimagining of a classic. While the film did fairly well at the box office, most Disney fans quickly forgot about it after watching it. I'm guessing you may not even know this movie exists, and if I'm wrong, then you deserve applause because a lot of people had no idea Disney ever made this film. I'm talking about The Wild, which tells the story of a lion named Samson and his friends who live in the New York Zoo. This big cat has a son named Ryan who loves hearing about his dad's adventures back when he lived in the African savannah. This sparks a desire in Ryan to live in the wild like a real lion, but Samson isn't thrilled with the idea and the two argue. In anger, Ryan sneaks into a shipping container headed for the wild, forcing his dad to embark on a rescue mission through New York. The movie ended up ranking among Disney's worst productions due to being seen as a blatant copy of DreamWorks' Madagascar, for not feeling like a Disney movie, and for poor quality. The film flopped so hard that it led to the shutdown of the animation studio contracted to make it. The Wild was released in 2006, and while its animation doesn't hold up by today's standards, even for its time, the design was odd and failed to capture any fan's attention. And to keep you engaged with us, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notifications, alright? We've had movies about dinosaurs, cats, and chickens, and in 2004, Disney released a movie about cows called Home on the Range. This film was done in 2D animation, but unfortunately, it didn't connect with audiences who found it hard to relate to the cow characters. The critics weren't impressed either, giving it low ratings. The blame might have been due to the choice of characters. Cows just don't get the same love and attention from fans as cats and dogs. At the time, this was definitely an issue. Disney doesn't only make animated films, they've also ventured into live action, like their attempt to create a movie franchise based on the Artemis Fowl book series. The story follows a 12-year-old boy named Artemis who discovers a magical world thanks to his father's work. In theory, this world could have been Disney's next big franchise, possibly filling the gap left by Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because the production is far from epic and the adventures feel lackluster. Just take a look at the film's reviews. As strange as it may seem, the story ended up being too childish and no one took the attempt to launch a new movie franchise seriously. Another case of a franchise that didn't quite take off was Planes, a spin-off from Cars, the major hit that introduced us to Lightning McQueen, but this time with a focus on aircraft. In this movie, a crop duster plane, a type of aircraft not known for speeds, decides to enter an air racing competition. The film even has a sequel, so Disney did try to make it work, but unfortunately, it didn't come anywhere near the success of Cars and is rarely remembered. Finally, let's talk about a movie that tried to be funny but ended up just feeling strange. You probably haven't even heard of this one, The Country Bears, released in 2002. There's not much to say about it, and the little I will say should explain why it's considered a Disney flop. Imagine a talking bear who lives with humans, doesn't know he's adopted, and then runs away to join a band. Some ideas just aren't great, right? I think that's enough for you to see why it made the list. This movie is pretty silly, and the effects make it a bit hard to watch. If you've ever watched those old Power Rangers episodes, where it's obvious there's a person in a suit pretending to be a monster, the effects in this movie are exactly like that. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with liking a movie that didn't do well at the box office or that most fans didn't enjoy. I personally love a few movies on this list and have a blast talking about them with you and my friends. We've picked out 2 more videos for you to check out. See you in the next video!